Hey, it is Whitney K, business coach, marketing agency owner, and your host of the Uno Mas podcast, where overwhelmed female entrepreneurs and founders come to get real, actionable advice on how to ditch burnout and build a business that actually works for them. Here you'll access tips, proven strategies, and unfiltered conversations with industry leaders. Hey, it is Whitney, and today's episode is a little different. This podcast is shifting the content, the direction, and even the name. And honestly, it's been a long time coming. I've tried to make it work as is, but lately I felt like I've been showing up in something that doesn't quite fit anymore, and I haven't even been showing up because I haven't felt aligned. So today I want to pull back the curtain and share why I'm rebranding, what's been stirring behind the scenes, and what you can expect moving forward. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Well, here we are. Time for a change. And honestly, a change I knew I needed to make well over a year ago. I just had a little bit of nostalgia, I guess, if you want to say, to the original purpose of this podcast. If you have been here for a while, then you know this podcast started with myself and my husband at the very beginning of the pandemic in 2020. And we used to always have these nightly conversations, couch conversations, if you want to say, because we'd always be sitting on the couch. And my husband said to me, we need to have a podcast, like jokingly, called Couch Conversations. And that is kind of what started the Uno Mas podcast. And if you don't know, Uno Mas is a play on words with our last name. Our last name is Mas. And we figured how cool would it be to say like, one more podcast at the end of every episode and saying something like, until next week, another Uno Mas podcast or one more podcast. And we just thought it was so catchy and we loved it. And people used to always message us and say, you know, that's not how you spell Uno Mas. And we're like, yeah, we know this is a play on words with our last name. But anyways, the whole purpose of the podcast starting was to take our couch conversations to the air and to have conversations of what we were going through, pregnancy with a new baby on the way, and COVID, and the pandemic during that time, and what we thought was going to happen, and the election. And there was just so many changes going on in the world that we thought, let's just take our conversations and what we're discussing as husband and wife to the air and talk about it publicly with people. But beyond that, leave our voices behind for our children to listen to years ahead. And I know how important that can be. And I think it's so funny. Let me divert for a minute, because there's a lot of people that sit there and think, oh, I just don't want to create content. It seems so exhausting. And yeah, well, it might be. Think about what you're leaving behind for your children and what you're leaving behind for people. I wish I had more video content of my father before he passed. I wish I could spend hours and hours just listening to his voice or watching him on video. And unfortunately, I just don't have that material at my fingertips to be able to sit down and enjoy. But by starting this podcast, my husband and I thought, not only would the conversations be humorous and somewhat valuable for other people that were going through similar situations as us, but our kids could listen back to the conversations that we had. So that was the original intent of the podcast. But then things started to change, and that was when my husband decided to bail on me. And he knows I say this because it's kind of funny and I kind of pick on him about it, but his commitment level to the podcast just was not where my commitment level was. And I'm not going to blame him. The man works a full-time job. He's a busy guy. And to get on and do this, not only was it outside of his comfort zone, but it was just a commitment and basically a time commitment that I don't think he realized he was really up for before he had already committed to doing it. So we sat down and we had that conversation like, hey, don't worry about it. I will take over the podcast and I will kind of like steer it into another direction to better fit my audience and ultimately the community I wanted to cultivate. So that's kind of what ended up happening. And we tried to make it fit. I tried, if I'm being honest, to make it fit with where we currently were, with how the podcast started. And I'm struggling with like saying this because I'm still like trying to navigate my emotions around it and my thoughts behind of it, because it was really hard to take what I really enjoyed ultimately at the very beginning with the conversations with my husband and merge that into a more business focused podcast and marketing podcast for female founders and CEOs on how they can digitally excel and scale their businesses online. And when I was converting into that and what I've been talking about for the past like year, 2 years, the entire time, I just didn't feel right. I felt like I was trying to be somebody that I wasn't. And it's not that the content wasn't real. It's not that my value that I was giving was fake or what I spoke about wasn't who I am, but I was trying to speak on a platform that wasn't built for that type of content, if that makes sense. And so I just started feeling disaligned, and I started to kind of retract from even wanting to show up. I noticed myself going weeks without creating an episode and then really feeling fired up about something and wanting to come on and record something. And my consistency dropped, my passion dropped. And then with both of those dropping, I kind of didn't even know who I was anymore. Like I didn't even know how to show up in the space because I felt so disconnected and disaligned from it that it was causing me more confusion and forcing me to show up with passion than I ultimately desired initially, if that makes sense. And so here we are. I've gotten to this place of needing to rebrand this podcast. And like I said, I knew this was going to be something I wanted to do. Actually, I wanted to do this a year ago. And I talked myself out of it because I was like, no, you've already, cultivated this community. You've already created over 100 episodes on this podcast. Why change it now when it's already kind of got its name? But the thing is like, the views are dropping. The downloads are dropping. If I'm going to be 110% honest with you, my consistency is dropping. My passion is dropping. Everything about this is just dropping. So I have prayed about it, not as much as I ultimately would like to have prayed about it. But I just feel it in my gut. Like I feel the Lord saying, it's time to change. It's time for you to lean in. And it might be the actions or the reaction to worldly events currently and me feeling more called and pulled into a certain direction. And that is why the Lord is kind of giving me this push to rebrand and redirect where I want to go. And so that's just where we are right now. I decided this is it. I'm going to rebrand this podcast. So the name is going to change. The direction, it's going to change a little bit, it's still going to be like my mission is still the same. Even though I've changed and I've grown up and I've matured and the content that I want to deliver is way better than I think it has been in the past, because my mission is clearer now. My passion is more ignited now than it has been before. And I'm not here to copy trends. I'm here to lead with conviction. I am here to create a community that is passionate to excel in a place that they feel a burning desire for and called in a direction to be. So, what can you expect? Without me giving too much information, because I'm not in the position to do that just yet. Trust me, it is coming very, 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 very soon. But you can expect more focus and more truth from me. You can expect the same strategy, the same systems, the same tips, the same marketing, but something that's a little bit deeper and clearer, and something that I'm going to pick and pull apart a little bit more. I feel like before I was a lot more surface level, and I want to go deeper into that. I want to go deeper into the conviction of what it means to run a business that is clear and called, and you are convicted in that calling to lead with intention. And that is where I'm really going to go with this podcast. This is going to be for what it has always been for, but I'm going to be more intentional with saying it out loud. This is going to be for faith-led female founders that are wanting to build right, wanting to build with intention, and not necessarily have to do it fast. I feel like we're in this place where the world has convinced us as business owners and entrepreneurs that if we're not moving quickly enough, then we're going to miss the mark. And here's the truth. If God wants something for your life, it will happen no matter how fast you're moving or how slow you're moving. This sense of urgency that we've created is a lie from the enemy, that if you don't take action now, you're going to miss out. The Lord, if He has plans for your life and for your business, trust me, honey, you are not going to miss out because the Lord's going to make sure of it. Sometimes we need to slow down and really sit back in our calling and really take time to marinate in that and ask ourselves key questions and implement certain things into our business in order to clarify that calling and have it just work with intention and direction and ultimate conviction in our lives. And that is what I'm so excited to dive more into with you. And I just want to say thank you for sticking with me throughout the years in this podcast. I know I can't even tell you the last time I recorded an episode. If I'm being honest, I should have looked before I even started recording this one, but I don't know when, because that's how much I haven't cared about it. But I love podcasting. I love just unloading my thoughts with you. I love sharing stories. I love pouring into you who listen and really want to implement what I've personally tried or what other people have tried and what I have learned throughout my years of entrepreneurship, years of systematizing, years of strategizing, years of marketing. I want to give that back to you. And I am so grateful that you've taken, whether it's this one only episode right now and you want to stick with me for the future, or you've been sticking with me for months or years or whatever it be, I just want to say thank you. Because for you to stick with me through these ebbs and flows that I've gone through means a lot to me. And quite honestly, I'm surprised you're even here. I am surprised that you're even here because I haven't even been here and I haven't been as committed. And if I'm looking at this as a relationship, I've really been sucky. And I'm sorry about that. But things are going to change. The tides are changing. And big things are coming. And I can't wait to make new memories with you and share more with you and just create a different community, but still the same community, but a more wholesome, purposeful, convicted, driven community of faith-led female founders in business that are all going after the same thing. So follow me on Instagram, Hey Whitney K, H-E-Y, Whitney K, K-A-Y. Follow me on Instagram. I'll be sharing some more details there. I'm still kind of deciding, do I want to have an Instagram for the podcast? I don't know. I don't know if I do. Instagram right now, we just don't have the best relationship, okay? We just don't. That's another conversation for another day. But I'm trying still to decide what I want to do with social media, but I will definitely be sharing those details on my personal Instagram, and you're going to see a whole new brand, all new episodes coming soon, and I'm just really excited to share this with y'all. So thanks, and reach out if you have any questions. Thanks for taking the time to listen in to today's episode on Uno Mas Podcast. What can you do to support the show moving forward? Well, you can subscribe on your favorite platform, leave a review or a rating, because it's your reviews that matter most, and it's your reviews that help us get the show discovered by new listeners. And don't forget to share this episode with your friends, family, and followers on all your social media accounts, tagging me at the Whitney K or at Uno Mas Podcast for a spotlight feature on our social platforms. Now, if you're a female entrepreneur who's ready to ditch the overwhelm, stream your business operations, and create a brand that deeply resonates with your audience, it's time to take the next step. Visit Eden with an IDEN.agency to learn more about my strategic synergy partnership, a personalized one-on-one partnership experience where we'll work together to implement the tools, systems, and strategies you need to scale with confidence, save time, and achieve sustainable growth. Don't wait. Your business deserves clarity, efficiency, and success. So let's make it happen together.